Hey, everybody, John Granato and Lance Zierlein from the bench, mornings on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do so that you can get the content that we always put out here at SportsMap HOU. Let's talk Astros baseball. As we're recording this, Lance, the Astros and Carlos Correa are negotiating an extension. Just real quick, what do you think? What do you think your numbers are for Carlos Correa?
Well, what mine would be if I were a general manager is I always like to shoot low, so I'll give them 5 years at $15 million apiece.
Well, yeah, but
I don't think my numbers, but I'm a numbers guy. My guess is it's going to look more like 7 at 25. That's a sporty contract, but I'm basing that off of what Lance McCullers got. Look, I think you could argue that Carlos Correa has been a much bigger piece of the Houston Astros over the last 5 years. And if Lance McCullers just got 5 at 17.5, I just don't. I mean, it's going to be longer. I think Carlos wants longer than 5. It's going to be longer. And I think it's going to be a lot more than just 20, 22. I think it may go as high as 25. Now, that's a lot to give Carlos Correa. A guy who has really had a hard time staying on the field and performing at the highest level, but he teases us every year, especially in the postseason. And God, I want this to be the breakout where Carlos becomes Super Carlos, and it felt like it in the postseason last year. I mean, it really did.
Yeah. Mine is he's going to get 22.5. 6-7 years. Maybe if they go just 22.5, they'll do 8 years with him. He wants a longer term contract. Here's a problem: is Lindor. I mean, he's been offered 325, 32.5 a year for 10 years. He wants 32.5 for 12 years, which is 10 million more than I'm saying. But Lindor is the best shortstop in baseball. Carlos, I mean, you look at the numbers and you look at the playing time and you look at what Lindor has done. And, by the way,
22 and a half.
It's not the New York Mets we're dealing with. We're dealing with the Houston Astros. It is. I would imagine it's impacted Carlos Correa when he sees those kind of numbers.
And Tatis as well. I mean, Tatis, Lindor, this is the one thing you don't want to happen is other guys get to the market. And if this is the second one, then Carlos can legitimately say, hey, you know what? Let's go 28. Let's go $28 million a year for 8 years. That's a fair deal. Reality is 6 at 25 would be a great deal for him.
Tatis is only 24 a year. So, I mean, while it's a big, huge number,
and it's all guaranteed.
Years, it's all guaranteed but it's still only 24 a year. So, you look at Tatis and how young he is and everything else, and, well, he hasn't been healthy for his whole time either, but Carlos has all of those. You say, look at Tatis at 24 a year, 22.5 is, or 20, even if they give him 25, like you said, Lance, that's ballpark, Carlos.
Yeah, no, and I think that's why I think 25 is a good number. I don't think but it wouldn't shock me if they try to shoot a little higher than that. I think when it's all said and done, 7 at 25, or like you said, maybe 8 at 24 a year. It's going to be about the guaranteed money. So what you were talking about, $22.5 million times 8, you're looking at $176 million, 175 plus million, between 175 and 180 million guaranteed. In baseball, it's about those guaranteed years. So if you can get a longer-term deal, if you're Carlos, you may give in on some of the numbers per year. If I'm the Astros, I'm much more apt to go annual salary higher, longevity of contract a little lower, because I don't want to be stuck in a 10-year deal. And that's the last thing I want for any baseball player. Yeah,
if he doesn't sign, you figure he has a better year or a worse year because of the pressure?
We're a Houston sports team. He probably is an MVP candidate discussion.
Well,
just like Garrett Cole. What do you think? He's going to have a great year, and then we'll have to watch a great player leave because they can't afford him.
Or he gets hurt again, or he hits 7. His OPS is 707 because he's got the weight of a contract hanging over his head, his future hanging over his head every at bat. I mean, that's a real possibility too. But let's face it, he's had years like that. He you know what? It's 900 or 700. That's his OPS. So no, not literally, but that's the range that we're talking about.
You think it
here.
Gets done this week?
I do think it gets done. I think it gets done this week, and I think that I know they want Carlos here to be long term. I just don't I just don't know if he's being unrealistic about the numbers that he's talking.
If he gets signed, what difference does it make?
With his playing time and with his overall statistics, it's not realistic what he's asking for.
But if he gets it and he gets signed, John, does it matter? He's here.
Do you think an 8-year deal is too long? Do you think you're going to regret it in year 6?
Well, I think it's possible, yeah. It's hard, but you know who you give 8-year deals to? Superstars. And Carlos is not. Superstars play, and superstars play at a high level, and they're on the field. And as much as we love his superstar potential, that's not who he is. So Alex Bregman, I feel like you could give that kind of deal to, and you're not too worried about it. But 8 years is a lot for any baseball player when it's completely guaranteed.
What's Plan B going forward after this year? It's Bregman to short.
Yeah, I think they'll keep Bregman. I personally think they'd keep Bregman at third, and I think they would, check out the minor league system or maybe look to move somebody. I mean, look, if you're not going to keep Carlos Correa, if you ever decide that, you move him because he's going to have some value.
Yeah, but that's just a half a year rental, and I don't know if you're going to get you're getting a shortstop of the future for Carlos Correa with just a half a year left on a deal. Now, a team could certainly use Carlos Correa, and by the way, if you're going to be in the postseason, Carlos Correa will perform. But I don't know that you're going to have your shortstop of the future going forward. Bregman would be the shortstop of the future. I think it'd be easier to find a third baseman and have Bregman play short for you.
I don't want to do this contingency plan if Carlos isn't here. That's a terrible game.